world leaders will be gathering for COP24 in Poland for the climate negotiations, but it's a very changed world situation since the Paris Agreement, namely the US's position with President Trump withdrawing from the deal.
Well, there are a couple of things to remember. First of all, under U.S. law, even though President Trump announced his desire for the U.S. to withdraw from the Paris Agreement, legally that cannot happen until one day after the next presidential election. And a new president could just give 30 days notice and the U.S. is right back in the agreement. But more importantly, California, where I am now, and many other states have on their own announced that they are moving forward to comply with the Paris Agreement and even to exceed the commitments made by former President Obama. Many of the largest companies in the U.S. and hundreds of cities in the U.S. are also moving forward. So the meeting in Poland that is starting this week, I will be flying from here to Katowice, Poland, to join those negotiations, is an important meeting to try to clarify some of the rules for the transition in the years ahead. But don't give up on the United States. There is a big difference between Donald J. Trump on the one hand and the United States of America on the other.
All right, but doesn't it get more difficult to get everyone on board, convince countries to do more to combat climate change without the United States? You know, earlier we used to see how the United States took the lead and played a major role in the negotiations, especially with the developing countries.
Well, you're certainly right that in all of the years since the end of World War II, midway through the last century, the United States has been considered by many around the world to be the indispensable leader in the community of nations. And when the United States does not provide that kind of proactive leadership, it can make the challenge more difficult. There's no question about that. But as we saw in Paris, Prime Minister Modi and the Chinese President Xi Jinping and the President of France, Macron, and others stepped up, along with the then President Obama, to really reach this historic agreement. The negotiators that President Trump's administration has sent thus far have not actually tried to obstruct the negotiations. I hope they will not do so in Poland either.
All right, so now tell us about the Climate Reality Project, the 24-hour special, which is to draw attention to issues related to climate change. NDTV is also part of this, and it's your 8th year hosting this event.
Yes, this 24 hours of reality that we are doing now for the 8th year is timed to coincide with the beginning of the negotiations in Poland, and we are on live television in Poland as the negotiations start there. Our purpose is to ring the alarm bell and to make clear that the solutions to the climate crisis are available now. We really do have a global emergency, and some people hear that phrase and instinctively react by saying, no, it couldn't be that bad. But it is. The rising temperatures have already created problems in India. Look at the flooding in Kerala just a few months ago, and the change in the monsoon pattern, the big rain bombs and floods and downpours, and the impact on agriculture in India from not only the rising temperatures, but also the disruption of long, predictable rainfall patterns. The water scarcity issue is made worse when temperatures increase as much as they are increasing now. So India can also create solutions for some of the health challenges by getting air pollution out of the air. And the same coal and oil and gas that is burned that produces global warming pollution is also the principal reason why air pollution is making so many people sick in cities all around the world, including, of course, in India. And the rising young generation is much more aware of the health consequences of air pollution. And many are saying it is time to reduce this air pollution, which we can do by getting electricity from solar and wind, which is cheaper after all, switching to electric vehicles. And India has announced a very inspiring and ambitious plan to phase out petrol and diesel vehicles in the years to come. So we can help to solve the climate crisis and improve health conditions at the same time.
All right, so now speaking about technology, are you hopeful going forward that we will be able to tackle climate change and deal with climate change a lot better with new and better technology? Just look at how much cheaper solar energy has gotten since the Paris Agreement, and that's helping meet climate commitments.
Yes, I'm very optimistic because we have already seen how smartphones get cheaper, flat screen TVs and computer chips get cheaper. Well, that's true of solar electricity and wind electricity. It's already cheaper in India to produce electricity from the sun and the wind than it is from burning coal. And of course, the coal interests have their connections and want to keep doing things the same old way. But the people want cleaner air and cheaper electricity. And as the cost continues to decline, then it's going to be ever more difficult to resist this transition, which creates jobs and cleans up the air and helps to save our future.
All right. Well, thank you, sir, for speaking to NDTV, and we're very happy to be a part of your climate effort.